All right, how you doing today? Today we're taking a look at a game changer for your kick drums. Really cool plugin here called DropKick, JMG Sounds, United Plugins, if you will. And you can get it at ADSR Sounds. There's links in the description below. They offer a free plugin every month with purchase, to check it out. So this is designed for electronic music, but I've also experimented with doing it on a rock drum kit and an overall drum bus to see what would happen. I like to experiment with these things. So we'll check out some of those experiments here. We'll go over the interface. There's basically 8 processors, fine-tuned, especially for kick drums, that really make your kick drums stand out. All the, controls are finely tuned for kick, as they say. So anyways, let's just check it out here. Let's go. So first, let's just play some sounds and I'll dial in some tones, and then I'll go over the interface and explain in more detail what's going on. All right, so here we have the very intuitive interface, quick controls here. We have a bypass switch over here. We have our presets loaded over here. If you want to get started that way, we have an A-B comparison. We can copy A to B, compare between them. We have an undo and a redo button over here as well. And then we have our phase control, our power control, and then our 6 other 1-knob controls over here. And then we have a limiter. We could switch between clean, warm, and hot, or off, and drive additional signal through that. And then here's something cool too. We have this search thing. It'll find the fundamental frequency of your kick drum to start working with, or you could do it by ear, and you can lock these in place as well if you want to go through some presets and such and just keep those the same. So we have a phase on and off, and we have the big knob here, obviously, and then we have different settings down here. And our frequency, which we could change manually, or again, like I said, we could search for it. We'll play it in a second and search again because I just messed it up. but there we go with our frequencies. And this uses analog modeled all-pass filters to offset lower frequencies that they use to shape the character of transient and lower the peak levels. And with all of the features in this plugin, everything's been fine-tuned for the kick drum, obviously, because it's called DropKick and it's for kick drums. So that makes sense. Anyways, so this section is called warp, and we have the X filter, and we can use that there. And we have the frequency, which again, we can choose manually or use that search thing there. We also have our lock button down here. Same thing for the power button, but we have a Rizzo frequency, and the different types of pull and stuff there, high pass filter, if you will, and our big knob for that. So the fire button here is it resynthesizes and harmonically enhances the kick. And then the over button is over the top compression technique that has been fine-tuned for kicks. It brings out the high end detail and tames the mids while stabilizing the low end dynamics. And then we have snap to enhance the attack and punch of the kick. And then we have clean, removes boxiness and muddiness. And then we have damp, removes higher frequencies while still allowing the transients to cut through. And then trim shortens the length of the kick tail to keep it tight and prevent boominess. And then we have our in and out, and then our drive knob for the limiter here. Another cool thing is you could just bypass this stuff. And let's say you want to bring out the snap, you can just use these controls over here if you want. Turn these all down. We're just using the snap control here on this kick. And then fine tune with some other controls here. Now, we can experiment with this as well. We don't just have to use it on electronic music or just on the kick drum. I like to experiment with these kind of things. So here's a boom bat drum beat before. Turn it on. And some more experimenting. Let's try it on this rock drum kit. We'll just mute it for a second here, play the beat. Something like that, turn it on. Now we can use that, use another plug-in, throw some reverb on or something, or some delays, get real crazy with it. So yeah, pretty interesting. Maybe just try it on the kick drum of the rock kit. So here's before, after. Now one is not necessarily better than the other, but what I'm doing here is just using the trim and some of the snap to really cut off that boominess, if you want that, of course. You know, like I said, if we're just making things up here as we go. I found the frequency really quick with the frequency knob here, super cool. Now, yeah, again, this is designed for dance music and stuff, but it's a kick drum. It's working fine on this kick drum as well. So have some fun with it, experiment. All right, so let me know what you think. Leave some comments down below. Check out my other videos floating around the screen here. If you're watching on YouTube, other platforms, check how the other platforms work, and you'll see other stuff going on in my profile or whatever. I don't know. Anyways, that is all for now, and I will talk to you soon.